Welcome to the video experience of the cat in a stroller.
Hey diehard deckheads, this is Silverthorn from the Cat in a Stroller. In my first video, I explained how to use a script that moves compatibility and shader pre-cached data from the Steam Deck's internal storage to the current MicroSD card in the MicroSD slot to save internal storage space. Doing this also extends the life of your internal storage, as there will be less write operations to it. That first script required a game's app ID to work, which needed an extra step to locate that information before using it. Worry not though, the new transfer cache to SD card script doesn't require you to know the app ID for the game that you wish to move to MicroSD card. This script will check your MicroSD card to identify which Steam games are installed on it, and it will let you choose which game to move compatibility and shader pre-cached data from the internal storage to the MicroSD card or back. Isn't progress grand? This will be a much shorter video, as I will skip some of the explanations in my first video. The original script can still be used, and you may want to use it instead of this new script. But let me explain why you would wish to use the new script. 1. You don't need to know the game's app ID. The menu takes care of that for you. 2. No errors because you used the wrong app ID. Again, the menu takes care of that for you. But probably more importantly is that it can handle when the directory is present on local storage and on the microSD card. I may add this feature to the move cache location script later, but it's exclusive to this script right now. How does it handle it? It will prioritize the data on the microSD card, so it will delete the data in internal storage and link to its location on the microSD card. Is there a reason to use the move cache location script over this new one? You may want to use the move cache location script if you want to create the symbolic links to the microSD card before you install a game. That way, the symbolic links are ready, so the microSD card will be used the first time that data is created there. This will help with the longevity of the internal storage drive. So make your choice: move cache location script or transfer cache to SD card script. Both scripts are very similar, and the end result is that you will save storage space on your internal storage by moving compatibility and shader pre-cached data to the microSD card. Check the video's description for more information about both scripts. Now, as a little aside or bonus, I guess, the game that I'm playing right now, or at least that I'm showing off, is Valkyrie Elysium, which is a game that was very recently released. I chose this game because it is a more recent title, and as such, it has a more strict set of requirements than previous games that I showed off on the other video. The compatibility and shader pre-cached data for this game have already been moved to the microSD card, and as far as I can tell, this hasn't had any negative impact on its performance. So I feel fairly confident about these scripts and the way that they relate to the Steam Deck. Okay, so as we can all see, I have already launched console on my Steam Deck. For more information on how to launch it, you may refer to my previous video, or I'm sure there are many other videos over and tutorials that explain that detail. But the important thing is, I am now in the console application running Bash, and I will show you all how to use the transfer cache to SD card script. But before I do that, let me demonstrate a different way to download the script to your Steam Deck. And this time, instead of using the browser in order to download it with a graphical user interface, we're actually going to take advantage of Git, because Valve, thankfully, included a copy of Git already installed on the SteamOS. I find that to be a nice surprise and to be really helpful. So let's do a little test here. I am going to create a new directory where I want to download the GitHub repository. So I'm going to use the make directory command, mkdir. Since this is just a test for the video, so I will call it script test. And I will now change directory to that script test directory. I mean, you could have used downloaded it directly at the home directory, but I prefer to use different directories. So now in the script test directory, I'm going to use the git command to go git clone https // github.com/silverthorn/steam deck bash and press enter. Cloning into Steam Deck Bash, boom, everything got downloaded. Let me do a list of the files. It created the directory for Steam Deck Bash. Let's go into change there. And here are all the files from my repository. Again, this is going to be about the transfer cache to SD card script. So let's run that one. First of all, let's give it executable permissions, chmod +x, transfer cache to SD card. I'm gonna do another list. We can confirm that it has executable permissions, as it is the only file with the little X's on the permissions area on the left. And now I'm going to run it. And again, there's that disclaimer. Oh, I noticed that I have to fix this. Okay, I'll fix that later. No need to panic about that. And then this script is provided as is, blah, blah, blah. With all of that out of the way, do you wish to proceed? I'm gonna type 1 for yes, press enter, and look at this. This operation will move compatibility and shader pre-cache data from internal storage to microSD card or back if it's already been moved. Select a game to run the operation on. And we have a nice little menu detailing all the games on my Steam Deck right now. The numbers at the front are the app ID. The dash is to separate the app ID from the game. And you will notice that the game titles have underscores in them instead of spaces. This is just because of the way that Bash builds array. It has to do with technical limits on Bash. I mean, I could probably clean this up, but I consider that a really low priority. It can still be read and it works, so let's go on. Anyway, so I'm going to choose game number 6, which is the DioField Chronicle. So I'm gonna type 6, press enter, and we have the selected game from this Steam Deck is the DioField Chronicle. Notice it's much prettier there because now that I've taken the name out of the array, I have a lot more flexibility when it comes to returning that name. But anyway, the app ID for the selected game is 1399080. Do you wish to proceed with the selection of the DioField Chronicle? I'm gonna type yes, one for yes. Ooh, it knows that the compatibility data for the DioField Chronicle has already been moved to a microSD card. Do you want to move the DioField Chronicle's compatibility data back to internal storage if it is present in the microSD card currently located in the microSD card slot? Again, this script works just like the previous one, so it will move it to microSD card or back to internal storage if that is what I want. Let me say yes, I will move it back to internal storage. It's moving the data back. Here we go, it's telling me where the data is located. And now it's telling me that the shader cache for DioField Chronicle has already been moved to microSD card. Do you want to move it back to internal storage? Sure, one is for yes. The same process repeats, moving the shader cache back to internal storage this time. I chose to do it this way because on the previous video that I did for the move cache location script, I was moving data to the microSD card. Now I wanted to show that I can move it to internal storage. And let's verify that that actually worked. Let's go to this directory over here, copy, paste. It's pasted some weird characters. Let me remove the weird characters. I'm not being as exacting with the editing here. I'm just doing it as I go, so there may be a few mistakes. That's part of the fun. Okay, so I am in internal storage, really? Yes, I'm in internal storage, and let me list the files there. Huh, go figure, it works, huh? Here we are. Nice. Let's go to compat data. I had initially installed this game a while back, so here it is. Yep. It got the date of the original time that was installed, but there it is. But let me do something even more fun right now. She's out. Let me copy. Let me copy this guy to run. Media mmcblk, that's the micro SD card. Let me see what are the folders there. Steam apps, and from Steam apps, compat data. I'm using tab to display the choices as I type so that I can see that I'm writing the right thing. So I am copying that compatibility data folder. Oops. I forgot to use dir because it is a directory and I want to copy everything in it, so it needs to be recursive. Again, I'm doing this live, so there may be some mistakes. Okay. Let me see if we actually copied that there. Oh, I can't do just copy paste. I need to Control C, Control V. I need to go copy with the right click, paste with the right click, and that's how it adds the weird characters. I'm used to doing it from a headless Linux where I really and I forgot to the city. I'm used to doing this from headless Linux where it's just right click. I don't need to do Control C or Control V. So anyway, so at compat data, let's go type list the contents and let me make sure that we are in the microSD card. Okay, so from within the microSD card, on the compat data, I have a folder for 1399080. It was a copy command, so the folder still exists on the internal storage for DioField Chronicle. Let's go to the shader cache directory in internal storage so that we do the same with the shader data. Deck video local share Steam apps shader, and from shader cache I want to cp recursive 399080 to run media mmc blk0p1. I keep forgetting the structure here. Steam apps shader cache, and let's go to that directory. I'm not gonna copy paste, I'll prefer to just type it. Let's list the contents. Okay, again, this was a copy, so I did not remove it from the internal storage, which will create the scenario that I wanted to demonstrate for this particular file. Thank you, loud car. So now that the car has moved, let's go to deck, and let's go to that new folder that I created called script, and from there script test, and from there to the Steam Deck patch folder. Remember, these were the ones that I created early on in the video. Let's list the contents. Transfer cache to SD card is the script that I want, so let's run that script. Yes, I want to proceed. I will choose DioField Chronicle, and notice what is going to happen now. Okay, I chose the DioField Chronicle. Yes, I want to continue with it. Warning, we have found compatibility data directories for the DioField Chronicle in both internal storage and the microSD card. This script will prioritize the compatibility data path in the microSD card, as its aim is to save internal storage space. To achieve this, the internal storage compatibility data path will be deleted. A symbolic link will be created in internal storage pointing to the compatibility data path in the microSD card. Do you really wish to proceed? I'm gonna say yes. It will remove the internal storage compatibility data directory, and it created the symbolic link. It's continuing, and another warning. We have found shader pre-cache data directories for the DioField Chronicle in both internal storage and the microSD card. The script will prioritize the shader pre-cache data path in the microSD card. To achieve, as its aim is to save internal storage space. To achieve this, the internal storage shader pre-cache data path will be deleted. A symbolic link will be created in internal storage pointing to the shader pre-cache data path in the microSD card. Do you really wish to proceed? I'm telling it yes. And I got it pointing to the new shader cache location. So this script was able to not just do the same functions as the previous script, which is to move data to microSD card or move it back to internal storage if it had already been moved, but it also has the capability to prioritize the microSD card directory in case that it finds that both internal storage and the microSD card have this data in them. Yes, I noticed that I now need to add an exit condition after moving it because the script hasn't exited. That was my mistake. And I noticed that it says, here we go, removing the internal storage compatibility data directory, but it is actually removing shader data directory. So I will update that text in the script. So those seem to be the only bugs left. I will fix them soon, so those bugs will not be on the script when you download it. But anyway, I'm sure you'll want to see if those directories are actually now symbolic links and if those links exist on the microSD card, because that was the point of this. Also notice I exited the script by pressing Ctrl and C. You will not need to do that once I update the script so it has a proper exit after moving the shader cache data and created the link for it. But anyway, let me demonstrate that we did in fact create those symbolic links. So let's go to home, deck, local, share, Steam apps, after Steam apps, what do I have? Compat data. Compat data. Let's list the contents. And we can all see the symbolic link. So this symbolic link was created after it deleted the compatibility data that was located in here because it prioritized the one that already existed on the microSD card. Again, this is only in the scenario where both internal storage and the microSD card have compatibility data in them. If that happens, it will delete the compatibility data on the internal storage and create a link to the compatibility data on the microSD card. Same thing with shader cache. Notice that it created a symbolic link. Let's go to the symbolic link. And that link contains all of the proper shader cache data in it. Now, if I say print working directory, it shows me as if it were in internal storage because I used a symbolic link to navigate there. Let me move back to the proper internal storage. Here it is. But let me go to the microSD card to demonstrate that even though there is a symbolic link in internal storage pointing to it, the actual data is indeed found inside the microSD card. There is a proper directory here. It is not a symbolic link. Let me do the same within the compatibility data directory. Here it is, a proper compatibility data directory. So I am now exiting console and will return to the gaming mode on my Steam Deck. The goal is to navigate my library, locate DioField Chronicle, and run it so we can show off that it works even after running the transfer cache to SD card script on it, because it would be pointless if the game didn't work after following this process. So I'm just gonna let the game load just to see how it performs. Remember that it has the compatibility data and shader cache data now on the MicroSD card. So I just wanna see how it does. At some point I connected my 8-bit Ultimate controller to the Steam Deck. That's why you're seeing some Xbox controller prompts. The first time that I used my 8-bit controller on the Steam Deck, I had issues with the triggers. There's a really nice thread over on Reddit where a user explains how to make these triggers work. The problem is that the rumble isn't working right now from his method, but if you're having issues with that 8-bit Ultimate 2.4 GHz controller on your Steam Deck, head over to Reddit. I will add a link to that thread and just follow the steps. It looks a bit scary, and he doesn't mention at some point that there's a need to restart the deck, which I did, and it worked after that. Maybe there was no need to restart it. It may vary depending on your configuration, but I had to do it. Maybe he didn't. Anyway, thanks for paying attention, everyone. I hope this information is useful as usual. And I'm just gonna mess around in DioField Chronicle for a while now. I haven't played this game in a while because Persona 5 and Valkyrie Elysium have kind of pushed me away from DioField Chronicle. But I must say that it's still an interesting game. I really like it, especially the way it presents the battlefields. They sort of look like highly detailed scale models. I guess the whole DioField thing may be related to the word diorama. So at this point, I give my thanks to the Steam Deck community over at Reddit, where it was requested that I create this version of the script, and a user even gave me some pointers on how to create the query to find the games that are installed on the current MicroSD card in the Steam Deck. So thank you very much, Salgo. That really helped me out. Well, guys, like and subscribe, please. And if you see any cutscene strollers, please make sure to say hi and maybe pat them if the owner allows you. Bye!
Understood. On my way.
Right away.
I've got it. Clear a path. I'll take you down. Another photograph.
You're no fun. Right away.
Understood. Understood.